everybody, and welcome to another episode of Let's Play Professor Layton vs. Phoenix Wright. We left off at, well, some dude decided to show up and be the fifth witness, basically, and we found out that Mary had cleaned up the bucket. And, yes, more tampering with the evidence. And some guy just recently changed his testimony, and we're going to be pressing on that now. That's pretty much it right now. Excuse me. Damn it, I had something to drink and it still feels like I'm not... okay. Anyway. That witch there was holding a stick. I even heard her say the incantation thingy. That's right, I witnessed it all. And I made him Southern. Oopsies. Hold it. British apparently means Southern accent for me. But no one knows for sure Miss Cantabella dropped that milk bucket on the ground. Because there's no mud on it. Is that what you're saying? Hey, we went over this already! We know the goat lady wiped off all the mud!
Objection!
However, Miss Mary doesn't clearly remember whether or not it was mud that was stuck on the bucket.
We really don't remember, but maybe... I guess maybe there was mud on it. I mean, she couldn't hold the scepter without putting the bucket on the ground.
Miss Mary, please give a definitive answer. Y'all done, Bluey? Talk all you want, cause it ain't gonna help you, see? The five of us, we saw what the witch went and did. We saw it clear as day. Ah, who just said something? Sounded like Wordsmith. Let's question him.
Hang on!
Excuse me, mister? Earth to Gramps? Defender, when you say Gramps, might you by any chance be referring to me? No, of course not, Your Honor. Mr. Wordsmith, are you listening?
I heard you quite clearly the first time, young man. These ears hear all, the crackling of the fire, the whispering of the crowd, and now, your voice.
If that's the case, then allow me to ask you a question. You were clearly deep in thought just now. Do you have something to say about this man's testimony?
Indeed so. I felt something was amiss. However, what that means I cannot say.
Amiss? Witness, could you tell us? What precisely was amiss with this third-rate testimony from this third-rate witness? Ouch! What a burn, Barnum!
5 heads are better than 1. 10 eyeballs are better than 2. As I listened to this man's testimony, I could not help but become aware of something most odd. Tonight, when the crime occurred, we all made haste to that terrible scene. The delicious scent of mid-evening dinner permeated through the air, the shadows of those present cast through the dim light. And yet, there were but 4 figures standing in the vicinity, myself included.
4? Hold on a second. You're saying that there were only 4 witnesses at the crime scene tonight?
These eyes may be old, but they know what they saw.
Is something the matter, Miss Mary?
No, it's just that Snowy and I are trying to remember what happened at the time. I remember the flames erupting in the air. That's when Snowy and I made our mad dash to save the precious milk. And when those 2 ruffians were set ablaze, the flame filled the area with light. In the sudden flash of light, we could see that there were other people around, besides ourselves. And that's when I saw them, the other people that scrambled to the scene along with us. I'm quite sure of it. There were only 4 of us there at the scene of the crime.
Objection!
Hold it, madam. What in blazes is going on? We have 5 witnesses on the stand, all claiming to have witnessed tonight's events firsthand. That means we have 1 witness too many. Don't be stupid! Why, you lot better stop speaking out of turn. All for one and one for all, remember? We all promised to take this witch down together, didn't we?
It's not quite that simple. We saw what we saw.
Well, I say it's all about the numbers, and I counted, I say. I'll have you know my counting is flawless. On nights when sleep eludes me, I can count sheep from moonrise to sunrise.
4 witnesses, 5 witnesses. What difference does it make? Things all started getting muddled when you showed up.
What the? You saying it's my fault? I was there, you fool! Didn't I just finish saying that? My testimony is strong as steel, even if it's not completely stainless. Oh, good God. Order! Order! I said order!
What is going on here? You claim the number of witnesses does not add up? I have never paid witness to such an outrageous conflict.
And then Layton slams the bench and everybody stops. There is but one answer to this puzzle. A single possibility.
What do you mean?
Without a doubt, magic must have been used at the scene of the crime. Furthermore, it would indeed appear that there were only 4 witnesses present at the scene. And yet, currently, we are faced with 5 witnesses testifying to the court. That certainly is quite a fatal contradiction, with only one possible answer. Would you not agree, Mr. Wright?
The answer? It can't be.
Well, out with the supposed answer, Sir Blue Knight. What is your explanation for the current number of witnesses?
One of them is a witch.
Well, it might seem far-fetched. The reality is actually quite rather simple. Excuse me. The real witch, and the real murderer in this case, is actually one of these 5 witnesses!
What?
What?
Technically, it's only 2.
You're telling us that the witch is amongst this group of witnesses? What utter rubbish! There's no possible way that such a claim could be true. That's right! You've got a lot of nerve accusing one of us of being a witch!
We have told you nothing but the truth, yet you still have the gall to bat around such an outrageous accusation.
Behold! Behold as my trusty shield deflects your petty words like the petty words that they are! Nice comeback, Knightley. Inquisitor Barnum. Yes, my lord. I would like to see a sketch of the crime scene at the time of the incident. Do you have one in your possession? Yes, certainly. Yes, certainly, my lord. I have one here. I requested it from the court illustrator just in case. Very well, witnesses. I would like each of you to mark your location at the time of the murder. Here on this crime scene sketch. Quickly now. The number of witnesses doesn't add up. It looks like we're getting somewhere now, but we haven't even scratched the surface of this case yet. And it's all thanks to this top hat wearing gentleman. Layton knows all, for he is perfect. I'm sorry, I do love the Professor Layton games, but sometimes Professor Layton is just too perfect and has no flaws, and it bothers me. The court accepts this crime scene sketch into evidence. If one of the witnesses is the witch, that could only mean one thing. Somebody here isn't telling the truth. That would indeed appear to be the case, Mr. Wright. Stop reading Wright's mind! Listen well, Sir Blue Knight. The path you tread now is a dangerous one. Claiming that a witch is among these most honorable witnesses is a serious accusation, should it prove to be a false one. You will find yourself at the other end of my sword. Do I make myself clear? Huh? But that wasn't so much my suggestion. I mean, the gentleman here with the lovely top hat was the one who urged me to say it. It is the same thing, Sir Blue Knight.
Indeed, it is the same thing, Sir Baker.
It is the same thing, Mr. Wright. Let's gang up on Phoenix Wright! Oh boy. Now, ready your sword. Ready? Were you listening? You claim the witch is not the accused and that someone else at the crime scene was the true culprit. If what you say is true, then surely you can tell the court exactly where this person was at the time of the crime, can you not? Come now, Sir Blue Knight. Only you can enlighten us as to who this real witch actually is.
So, Doughy Defender.
Doughy, show us where the witch was at the exact moment the murder took place. I'm sorry, Doughy Defender. Unsheath your baguette and present evidence! And it's going to be right here.
Got it!
The witch must have been standing here.
Objection!
What is the meaning of this? Unfortunately for you, that spot has absolutely nothing to do with any of these witnesses.
Objection!
Wanna bet? Inquisitor Barnum, I suggest you try taking a look at this.
The Grand Grimoire.
According to this tome, Ignace summons a circle of flame within a 1 meter radius of the caster. In other words, the witch had to have been within 1 meter of the flame when casting the spell.
Objection!
Of course, you needn't say any more, Sir Blue Knight. First off, notice that there is no one else in the area other than the accused. It should also be quite obvious from the sketch that there is clearly nowhere for anyone to hide.
Objection!
Have you forgotten what was on that scepter? True, there aren't any hidden spots, however. There is one other possibility, if a witch wanted to stay hidden from sight. Most intriguing. Since you seem to have loved showing evidence, prove it. How was the witch able to hide in plain sight? Well, the answer is... that.
Take that!
Dimir. This Talia Magica contains 2 magic gems. Ignace and one other spell. That's right, the spell Dimir.
Dimir? Oh, it cannot be!
That's right. There was most certainly a witch present at the crime scene, only they were completely invisible. All thanks to the magic spell Dimire.
What foolishness is this?
Order! Order in the court! Defender, what are you getting at? I thought the witch used Dimire to make the Talia Magica disappear.
Objection!
According to the Grand Grimoire, under the entry for Dimir, it causes anything the caster touches to vanish from sight. In other words, supposing the witch were holding the staff in one hand while touching part of their body with the other, they would be able to make themselves disappear. Are you implying that that is the reason for the conflicting number of witnesses? Indeed it is, which means witnesses. Someone amongst you is not disclosing the entire truth, and that person is the witch we seek. I believe this is the most probable scenario.
Honorable witnesses, you will testify to the court one final time. Tell us exactly what you saw and what you did not see at the scene of the crime. How absurdly absurd! The purpose of this trial is to convict that girl of the crime, is it not?
That's right! We are not witches!
Witnesses, I ask that you listen. There is a witch mingling among you. That's right. I'm afraid you are all no longer brothers in arms. The true opponent here is within your own group. The real witch is one of these 5 witnesses, huh? Fine by me. Time to put an end to this trial. Witness testimony! Again! What we saw and what we didn't see. You wish to know where we were all standing tonight? It matters not. Would the flames not burn just the same?
That flame, I never saw anything like it. It quite literally left me speechless. I couldn't even so much as scream.
I heard the tiniest cry, and then when I turned around, the blighters were roasting, so I rushed right over.
I heard the incantation, then the flames suddenly erupted. I'm certain of it. I only saw 3 people there with us.
As I said, there were only 3 others present, like that man there who was stumbling around like a newborn calf.
Says the person who tripped over a scepter.
A most heinous act indeed. No small wonder these witnesses are so confused.
A witch amongst the witnesses. What an utterly baseless claim. I don't think so, Barnum. The only baseless claim in this case is of Espella being a witch. It's more than a little likely one of these witnesses is the culprit. These testimonies are bound to tell me who the real witch is. Alright, first off, we're going to press on Wordsmith.
Hold it!
So, including yourself, there were a total of 4 witnesses at the crime scene, correct?
That is how it has come to pass.
By the way, what do you mean by stumbling around like a newborn calf?
Ah, yes, that was a man. As inebriated as he was loud. Quite the humorous sight it was, I dare say.
Blah, blah, blah. He must mean the witness permanently glued to his cup of whatever it is he's drinking. Very fancy grape juice.
When I saw the flames rise up into the sky, I wondered to myself, my word, whatever could that be? However, I could not simply walk over to check. My knees were a bit weak from shock, you see. That's when the wobbly-legged gentleman came running over.
Oh, it sounds like some guy has something to say. Huh?
Hang on!
Is something the matter, mister? Mister! Blah, blah! Whoa! Tone down the volume, Bluey! That's my line! Sir Blue Knight, next time please think before trying to press this witness. Looks like this guy even managed to scare Barnum half to death. Now then, sir, about Mr. Wordsmith's testimony just now. He claimed you were stumbling around. What does he mean by that? I'm going to set the record straight right now. In no way was I stumbling around anywhere. I'd like to think it was more like staggering with style.
A responsible adult should know better than to go stumbling around that they did tonight.
Hey, look, I don't just go stumbling around like some clumsy idiot. I've got more sense than that. But anyway, I kinda tripped over a large stone. I mean, you don't exactly see what's on the ground in front of you when you're running at full pelt, right? So, you could say I put me life out on the line, proving that you really need to watch where you're going when you run. How courageous of you. Someone give this guy a medal. My lord, this testimony is meaningless waste of everyone's time.
Well, Defender, is there a point to this particular line of questioning?
Well, yes, we should question further. I mean, why did he trip? Is there anything we're pursuing here? What should I do? Question further. The witness stated earlier that he tripped over a large stone. Mister, I have one question for you. Why weren't you watching what was in front of you?
Well, to be honest with you, it ain't much for a reason, but something suddenly caught me attention. Out of nowhere, I sort of heard someone call out me name.
You heard your name?
Of course, I turned around when I heard it. Who wouldn't? When someone calls your name, you pay attention, am I right?
And guess who was behind him? So, you heard someone call out, "Hey you," from behind, you mean?
Hey, I said they called out me name! How many guys do you know called "Hey you"? My name is Emir! And don't forget it, Bluey, you hear me?
I must say, this gentleman really does not strike me as an Emir.
You know, Professor, it's not very memorable name. It's not a very memorable name, huh?
That's harsh, Luke! Honorable witnesses, is there anyone among you who was aware of this man's name prior to now?
Not at all. He's always just been Mister to me.
A knight's name is only as good as the name of the sword he carries.
It is the first I have heard of this. I dare say I did not expect his name to be one such as Emir.
I'm sorry, but I don't know his name either. I only remember the names of my most loyal customers.
Okay, it looks like absolutely no one knew this witness's name.
You know, it ain't really much of a surprise to me either. Ha 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 ha! But seriously, I definitely heard someone call me name. When you get to me age, you really start to wonder when you'll find that true love, you know? I thought that pretty voice tonight might have been me sweetie.
Emir, please. Your Honor, I'm just going to check the recording real second. Okay. Your Honor, I don't believe we should be so quick to label Mr. Emir's testimony meaningless. Would you agree? Would you not agree? I request that the witness add this amusing anecdote to his testimony. Understood. Witness, amend your testimony, but please reflect only the important points of your story.
I'm telling you, I heard someone call me name, and I was looking around trying to find them. I hurried to the scene, but then I ended up tripping when I heard someone call me name from behind.
Let's press.
Hold it!
Excuse me, Emir.
Don't sweat it, Bluey, mister, hey you, it's all the same to me.
You stated that you heard your name being called from behind. Are you absolutely sure about that?
Well, right or wrong, it sure sounded like my name. I mean, what else could it have been? I wouldn't have remembered it happening if I hadn't heard something, right? Still, maybe there's a chance I just imagined it, huh? But anyway, I remember it came from somewhere behind me.
From somewhere behind you? Is something the matter, Mr. Wright? Mr. Emir's memory isn't the most accurate, but if what he says is true, then there's definitely something there. Look at that knowing smile Layton has. Something, you say? Might you mean a contradiction? Yeah, I think so, although I don't know. There's just something strange about his testimony. I don't see any decisive evidence in the court record that can help. Do you mean to say you found a contradiction that cannot be supported by the evidence?
Objection!
Milord, this line of interrogation is a complete waste of the court's time. Defender, I must warn you, from here on, any unnecessary question will be dealt with accordingly. If I don't answer correctly here, it's curtains for the trial and for Espella. And if you are intent on finding a fault in this witness's testimony, you will need to present decisive evidence to back up your claims. There's not one single piece of decisive evidence in the court record. What do I do now? Mr. Wright. Mr. Layton! I have an idea. I believe there is a weapon of sorts with which you may be able to expose this contradiction without the need of evidence. A weapon? Now, defender, give us your answer. Yes, Your Honor. The defense finds that the witness's testimony contains a clear contradiction. We're gonna keep pushing even though we don't know what we're doing! Your Honor, the defense believes there is a huge contradiction in the witness's testimony.
Objection!
What is this? You must be an even bigger fool than I thought, Sir Blue Knight. You really do not possess even a sliver of common sense, do you?
Objection!
Hey, now! If I may interrupt for just a moment, Inquisitor Barnum. Allow me to ask you this. What need is there for common sense in a world that forgoes using it? Accordingly, I must humbly ask that you discard such a manner of thinking. Burn! Whatever do you mean? You have my utmost thanks for placing your trust in me, Mr. Wright. Let us discuss the one remaining weapon in this cross-examination. The remaining weapon? This trial has taught us a valuable new technique to be used in the courtroom, has it not?
You mean questioning, right, Professor?
Indeed it is, Luke. Each of the witnesses in this trial has given their own account of what occurred. Therefore, whenever one witness has testified, the other remaining witnesses have listened. That gives me an idea. In addition to catching a witness off guard and questioning them about another's testimony, there is one more thing. There's something else we can get from a 5-person cross-examination? That's right, of course! Indeed, Mr. Wright, contradictions. Should one witness's testimony differ from another's testimony, then I suppose that in itself can also be considered a contradiction, can it not? Testimony contradicting testimony. I never would have thought of that until now. Barnum, meanwhile, is getting really impatient. Enough, Sir Blue Knight. Are you prepared to present to the court evidence proving the contradiction within this witness's testimony? The witness's testimony does not contradict any evidence. It contradicts a testimony. What are you talking about? is time, Mr. Wright. Have a look at the touchscreen. There, you will see the testimony of the witness in question, as well as those of the other witnesses. Keep your eyes peeled and identify the contradicting testimony.
Alright, let's give this another shot, Nick! And make sure you don't forget to take a look at the court record, too! Bum, bum, bum.
Well, the person that has the contradicting testimony is Kira.
Objection!
BAM! Oh my god, so epic. The person contradicting this man's testimony is none other than you. Miss Kira! Oops, that was Layton, oh well.
Are you both pointing at me?
At the time of the incident, that man heard someone's voice call his name. That voice belonged to you, Miss Kira. It could not have been anyone else. And yet, in your testimony, you stated that you were in such shock during tonight's events that you couldn't even speak. This is a clear contradiction.
Objection!
What is the meaning of this, defender? Can you really claim to trust this sham of a witness and his sham of a testimony?
Objection!
That man's character is beside the point. His testimony is anything but a sham. As he watched the flames erupt, his attention was drawn to a voice behind him, which in turn made him fall over. He heard a woman's voice calling his name, a very concrete reason, and reason enough to believe his testimony.
Objection!
If it is as you say, then explain why you feel this witness is somehow responsible.
That's right! Why me? People barely hear me from when I'm out selling 5 flowers. That's how soft my voice is. And besides, there was another woman at the scene, wasn't there? Me? What are you getting at, young lady? Do you honestly think a woman my age would be out late at night in the forest flirting with questionable men? Besides, I didn't even know this pathetic man's name. How could I call out to him? Neither did I, and even if I did know his name, do you really think he's the kind of guy any self-respecting girl would want?
Come on, ladies! I'm standing right here, you know!
As I was saying, the only person that guy could have heard from behind him was you, Miss Kira. The defense wishes to present evidence to prove this claim. Whew. To accuse a witness like this, young lady here, why, this is simply unheard of. I must warn you, defender, if you cannot prove your accusation to this court, you will see the underside of my gavel. Show us evidence to prove this young lady was the one who called out to this man at the time of the crime. Sure thing, let's present the area map. Take a look at this and you'll have your answer. This is the crime scene sketch. You can see the position of each witness during the crime. The only person that he could possibly have heard from behind him was none other than Miss Kira.
Objection!
Listen here, Sir Blue Knight. I will only tell you this one more time. A sham of a witness yields only a sham of a testimony. That is all there is to it. Did you, in fact, see this flower girl's face? You know, now that you mention it, seeing as I've fallen down and all, I don't think I saw her face. Okay, but you heard her voice, right?
Let me think. The voice came kinda out of nowhere. It was kinda high-pitched. And I guess it kinda sounded like her, but I can't say whether or not it was this girl's voice.
And there you have it, Sir Blue Knight. Such a pity.
Huh?
Milord, it is clear that the defense's claim is nothing but a pointless waste of the court's time. I recommend you deliver unto them a penalty befitting such behavior. Indeed, Inquisitor. Oh, shit. Ready yourself, defender. What is that laughter?
Pardon me, my lord. It looks like you've finally arrived at a decision. That means this has nothing to do with me. Isn't that right, Inquisitor Barnum?
What are you saying?
I'm saying that it's time for me to stop peddling testimony and get back to peddling flowers. I mean, look at all these flowers left over. It's going to take until sunrise to sell them all if I stay here any longer.
Kira?
Or maybe, my lord, you and the rest of the court would be interested in buying my entire stock of flowers to help a young girl out?
No, I don't think... I mean...
Then it's settled. Now, if you'll excuse me, my apologies for the interruption.
Understood. The court will dismiss the witness. No! Fuck! Well, Miss Kira, it would seem you are beginning to show the court your true colors. Indeed she has! And it's going to get really interesting from here on out. And we're going to find out how interesting it gets in the next video, unfortunately, because yes, 30 minutes is here. But yes, I'll see you guys in the next video.
Maybe. I guess maybe there was mud on it. I mean, she couldn't hold the scepter without putting the bucket on the ground.
Miss Mary, please give a definitive answer.
Y'all done, Bluey? Talk all you want, cause it ain't gonna help you, see? The five of us, we saw what the witch went and did. We saw it clear as day.
Ah, who just said something? Sounded like Wordsmith.
Let's question him.
Hang on!
Excuse me, mister? Earth to Gramps? Defender, when you say Gramps, might you by any chance be referring to me? No, of course not, Your Honor. Mr. Wordsmith, are you listening?
I heard you quite clearly the first time, young man. These ears hear all, the crackling of the fire, the whispering of the crowd, and now, your voice.
If that's the case, then allow me to ask you a question. Miss Mary?
No, it's just that Snowy and I are trying to remember what happened at the time. I remember the flames erupting in the air. That's when Snowy and I made our mad dash to save the precious milk. And when those two ruffians were set ablaze, the flame filled the area with light. In the sudden flash of light, we could see that there were other people around, besides ourselves. And that's when I saw them, the other people that scrambled to the scene along with us. I'm quite sure of it. There were only 4 of us there at the scene of the crime.
Objection!
Hold it, madam. What in blazes is going on? We have 5 witnesses on the stand, all claiming to have witnessed tonight's events firsthand. That means we have 1 witness too many.
Don't be stupid! Why, you lot better stop speaking out of turn. All for one and one for all, remember? We all promised to take this witch down together, didn't we?
It's not quite that simple. We saw what we saw.
Well, I say it's all about the numbers, and I counted, I say. I'll have you know my counting is flawless.
You were clearly deep in thought just now. Do you have something to say about this man's testimony?
Indeed so. I felt something was amiss. However, what that means I cannot say.
Amiss? Witness, could you tell us? What precisely was amiss with this third-rate testimony from this third-rate witness? Ouch! What a burn, Barnum!
5 heads are better than 1. 10 eyeballs are better than 2. As I listened to this man's testimony, I could not help but become aware of something most odd. Tonight, when the crime occurred, we all made haste to that terrible scene. The delicious scent of mid-evening dinner permeated through the air, the shadows of those present cast through the dim light. And yet, there were but 4 figures standing in the vicinity, myself included.
4? Hold on a second. You're saying that there were only 4 witnesses at the crime scene tonight?
These eyes may be old, but they know what they saw.
Is something the matter, miss?
On nights when sleep eludes me, I can count sheep from moonrise to sunrise.
4 witnesses, 5 witnesses, what difference does it make? Things all started getting muddled when you showed up.
What the? You saying it's my fault? I was there, you fool! Didn't I just finish saying that? My testimony is strong as steel, even if it's not completely stainless.
Oh, good God.
Order! Order! I said order!
What is going on here? You claim the number of witnesses does not add up. I have never paid witness to such an outrageous conflict.
And then Layton slams the bench and everybody stops.
There is but one answer to this puzzle. A single possibility. What do you mean? Without a doubt, magic must have been used at the scene of the crime. Furthermore, it would indeed appear that there were only 4 witnesses present at the scene. And yet, currently, we are faced with 5 witnesses testifying to the court. That certainly is quite a fatal contradiction, with only one...
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Let's Play Professor Layton vs. Phoenix Wright. We left off at... well, some dude decided to show up and be the 5th witness, basically, and we found out that Mary had cleaned up the bucket! And, yes, more tampering with the evidence. And some guy just recently changed his testimony, and we're going to be pressing on that now. That's pretty much it right now. Excuse me. Damn it, I had something to drink and it still feels like I'm not... Ugh, okay. Anyway.
That witch there was holding a stick! I even heard her say the incantation thingy! That's right, I witnessed it all!
And I made him Southern. Oopsies.
Hold it!
British apparently means Southern accent for me. But no one knows for sure if Miss Cantabella dropped that milk bucket on the ground. Because there's no mud on it. Is that what you're saying?
Hey, we went over this already! We know the goat lady wiped off all the mud!
Objection!
However, Miss Mary doesn't clearly remember whether or not it was mud that was stuck on the bucket.
We really don't remember, but